Considering the sexy scenes he's read, totally 18 plus. Don't you know who you're talking to?
Daddy. Strength to hold in what is trying to get out. Okay. Temptation.
He lowers himself down between my legs and watches me closely as he pushes himself inside me. I cry out, moaning with pleasure, uncaring how feral and out of control I sound. Kyle moves slowly at first, kissing me so softly that I feel like I might explode. Then he pulls back and slams into me hard.
I shall save you all from spiders. I'm an expert trapper and releaser. That's so sweet that you release them. I murder them.
All right. Hello and good evening. I totally forgot to turn on chatbot, so that's awesome. Getting that taken care of. Okay, should be good. What else did I forget? I don't know. My stream deck isn't working properly, so that's cool. Yeah. It's fine. My push-up camera, completely knocked out of place. Hello. Stay. Good camera. All right. Newbie, adamantine. It's a Monday, but it's Thursday, so it's your Monday, I take it. Cool. Very cool. It's my Thursday, so. And I decided for music tonight, chill piano is back. No, it seems like you're, well, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Chill piano is back on Pretzel Rocks. So instead of my usual roundup of tunes, we're listening to chill piano. If it ends up, but what the hell? What was that? Hi Killer, Anonymous gifted 5 subs. Zebra Jazz, Richard Loves Music, Pegging, and Ghostix. Why? Thank you, Anonymous. But why? Who did it? I think I know. Thank you very much for the 5 gifted subs out of absolutely nowhere. That was super kind of you. Let me do the math. Five times 5 is 25. I learned that in school. Thank you for being so generous, mysterious gifter. I wish I knew who you were, so I could say thank you properly. I'll have to do it in sign language. Thank you. I appreciate it. That was very generous. Completely unnecessary, but appreciated all the same. I took a paint med a little while ago, so hopefully that'll be kicking in soon, because my back is not happy. Or I should say my kidney, not my back. Whatever. Doesn't matter. In other news, I'm going to be receiving an audition here soon. Sometime tomorrow, I think. So there's this little character named Daz, D-A-Z. The little guy is a kangaroo. And kangaroos in Australia, all right? And this kangaroo is going to help teach kids how to safely take care of their pets at home, like in little episodes. And so I am auditioning to be the voice of Daz. And I can't wait, because I think that's kind of cool. Anything like kid enthusiast, what's the right word here? Anything to do with kids and like promoting wholesomeness, safety, you know, that kind of stuff. I'm all over that. So, fingers crossed that I nail the audition and I become the voice of Daz. Because that would be really cool. So, we shall see. Gotta wait for the audition to come in. I already sent them a reel, and based on that, they're now sending some lines and like a little animated clip. So I can see the character and become one with the character. So that's exciting. Hopefully I'll get that tomorrow. Either tomorrow or Saturday, I'm not sure. But either way, looking forward to it. Let's see. I went to the dentist yesterday. And no cavities. No cavities. That's 2 times in a row. two visits in a row. No cavities. I'm knocking on wood. So yeah. Sorry you're in pain. I hope it goes away soon. Good luck with the audition. Thank you. On both. Thank you on both. Wholesome safety learning for kids? Nice. You got this? I hope so. I know that's the wrong attitude. I know I have it. It's whether or not they want me to have it, but I know I can do Daz justice all day long. So, just gotta wait and see. But in the meantime, I know there's going to be a couple people joining us late tonight because of activities. But I have an adorable puzzle picked out for you. Okay? There you go. There's your puzzle. You'll do fantastic. Well, let's hear your Daz voice. Well, I will. Hey, Jen. I will show off my Daz voice once I've seen the character, because I was just kind of making something up for the reel. I have no idea what Daz looks like. You know, I haven't seen the character, so maybe on Sunday when I stream, I should have seen him by then, and then I can give you a Daz impression. How's that sound? Save it for Sunday when I've had a chance to get into the character of this adorable kangaroo. At least I'm assuming it's adorable. Sounds good? Awesome. I also need to start listening to some more Australian accents. Because they would prefer Daz be, you know, a true Australian. Can you imagine seeing a kid's show, a talking kangaroo shows up, and the kangaroo's like, "Hello, good day." Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work. Yeah. I've got my tea on the warmer. I've got my water in front of me. I've got the book right here. And I have a message right here. All right. I can't believe we're on chapter 13 already. This book is like 225 pages, and we're on 140, which means we only have 75 pages left. Or no, 85 pages left. Right? Yeah, something like that. We don't have that many, is what I'm saying. Regardless of the math. Okay. Let me see how my tea's doing. I'll take a sip of that. Get the old throat ready. Hope everyone's had a good week so far. Manageable, at least. It's hot. Yep, that is nice and warm. Okay. Chapter 13, we're on page 140. Let's see what happens. Together, they descended from the treetops. Except for Jack, the campsite was deserted, silent. Janelle ran up to him as he lay face down in the dirt, motionless. She knelt beside him and placed a hand on his back. His torso rose and fell as he breathed in and out. Relief flooded through her. So if you remember from last time, they were going to escape from their little prison setup, but she suddenly had this desire, overwhelming feeling to go back and help him, even though he was the one that locked her up. And he was hurt in the process. Excuse me. He's still alive. She felt around his neck and shoulders, looking for the entry hole of the bullet. Blood saturated his shirt and clumped in his hair. Her fingers probed gently. The raw hole was easy to find, on his left shoulder, close to his spine. The base of the wine glass still protruded from his cheek. Janelle stifled a cry. "I'm so sorry, Jack. I didn't mean to." With trembling hands, she grasped the base and pulled. The stem came out with a sickening wet sound. Probably something like that. Oh my goodness, Soda, I haven't seen you in a hot minute. It's funny that you should show up, considering I was just talking about a character named Daz that's Australian. And then here comes Soda, who is Australian. G'day. Hey Daddy and friends, thank you for the resub. That's super duper kind of you. How have you been? It has been a while. Let me edit the count. We're now on 30.
Yep, that tasted purple.
And there's a purple. My nickname is Alice too. Now I'm doing an audition soon for a little like a kid's character. He's a kangaroo and his name's Daz from Australia. And so I gotta get into the Australian accent mindset so I can, nail the audition. You've been really good. That's great to hear. I'm doing all right. Yeah, can't complain. It's good to see you. Good to see Purple too. Glad you're here. We just got started with chapter 13, so get cozy, relax. Bloody Dazzle-the-Roo. Yeah, I haven't seen this character yet. I just know his name is Daz. And it's like an educational thing for kids. So I'm hoping to audition to be the voice of Daz. Anywho, here we go. Right. Where were we? Oh, here, right. I found it. She grasped the base and pulled. The stem came out with a sickening wet sound. Jack gasped and began choking as fresh blood flooded his mouth. That's really cute. It'd suit the role. Thank you. I hope I do. Turn him back over or he'll choke to death, Orion said. He helped her turn him so the blood drained from his mouth onto the ground instead of down his throat. Damn. Someone did a number on him even before the gunshot. Embarrassed, Janelle whispered, "That was me." Orion whistled appreciatively. "Let's get him inside," the big man said. "Is there a medkit or something in there?" He pointed to Jack's wagon. "Even better," Janelle replied as they lifted him. "A trustee computer." Good God, really? Okay. Thanks for that. Every time. Uh-huh. Thank you. Sort of. Just remember, newbie, we know each other IRL, and I can return the favor, okay? Let that keep you up at night. Orion laid Jack on the bed in the wagon on his right side to make his port accessible. Janelle hooked him up to the computer. As before, her access was granted when she typed in her username and password. She ran a quick diagnostic on him. "The bullet's not there. Is there an exit wound? I think I see one on the screen. On the right side of his throat." "Yeah, there's one here." Orion had a med kit and began to clean the unconscious man's wounds. "Okay, good. According to the computer, he's already healing. Should be done by morning." She had to admit she was envious of his enhanced healing properties. She exited out of the program. Once again, on the main screen, a file appeared with her name on it. She knew she shouldn't click on it. The last time she did, it caused the system shutdown. But once again, she felt compelled to do so. Like her program was telling her to do it. She hovered over the file and double-clicked. At the same time, she realized Jack was still connected. "Oh shit," she cried and looked Jack's way, but nothing happened. "Something wrong?" Orion asked. She glanced back at the screen, her eyes widened. "No," she said, awe in her voice. "Everything's..." She raised a hand to her mouth and stared at the computer screen. "What is it, Janelle?" "Rexter, what's up, man?" Purple, can you please give Rexter a shout out? My dude. My drummer from another mother. I got a new toy Aero Band pocket drum 2 pulse electric air... What? That was a mouthful. You got what? Is that a drum set in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? Toy Aero Band Pocket Drum 2 plus electric air drum set. Jeepers. Is that like the sticks that you connect to Bluetooth or something, and then based on your positioning they play different sounds? Oh, there's a link. Let me pull this up. Let's check this out. Aeroband drum set. Whoa. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. That's exactly what I was thinking of. You have your pedals for your hi-hat and your kick drum. And then you, yeah, you just play in the air. Well, that's cool. Do you know what make this really cool? And this is just me thinking about this right now, but if they were to put it in some sort of VR so that you use this with the VR headset and then you could see the drums in front of you, that would be pretty sweet. It'd be difficult to do because of hand to camera and all that stuff, but that would be pretty awesome. Well, you'll have to let me know how that goes, because that looks pretty dope. That emote is absolutely nuts. Add a card. What's up? How you doing? All right. Janelle clicked on a file while the port is plugged into Jack, and she just opened the file and learned something astonishing, which we're about to find out. How am I? I'm doing good, thank you. It's great to see you. Let's see. So, Orian's like, "What is it, Janelle?" She swallowed. "Orian, I can enlighten Jack." Emotion flooded her. She began to cry. "Oh, gods, I can save him." It's good to hear. Absolutely wonderful to see you as well. Well, thank you. Enjoy the puzzle. It's adorable. It's cats. The file had opened to a new screen. "Commence Enlightenment" flashed at her. With a trembling hand, she clicked the flashing words. Janelle sat by Jack's bed, holding his hand as he slept. Orion had gone out to look for supplies. He intended to be on his way in the morning. Janelle wasn't sure if it would be with them or on his own. In the few hours that passed, Jack's wounds were better. His breathing came easy. He was no longer hooked up to the computer. The connection had gone dead the moment his enlightenment was complete. It all made sense to Janelle now. Becoming enlightened did something to the port so the computer could no longer access it. That was why she couldn't do it in the power plant, and why Jack and Roberton hadn't been able to connect to her. Jack would be the same way now. As for that file with her name on it, it appeared to be her key for enlightening others. She supposed the computer in the power plant had been shut down because she was already enlightened, which meant that maybe she had still connected to the computer, but she had sure felt the feedback. Just not connected on a level anyone could access, perhaps. Still, so much in shadow. She thought back to the time when Tourette mind-raped that soldier. He had been enlightened as well. It would explain why Tourette couldn't access the information he wanted. But why was the program doing this? What was the point of the enlightenment beyond opening one's eyes to the atrocities of Trustee? Why did it occur? Janelle supposed this Chris Jordison could answer her questions and tell her what she was supposed to do. "Hey, Jennifer. Good to see you. How's it going?" After all, there had to be a reason for the enlightenment. She prayed to the null that Orion would help her. Jack stirred in his sleep. Janelle brushed a strand of hair from his face. The wound on his cheek had nearly healed. A scar would soon remain. She kissed him on the forehead. He smiled and snuggled deeper into his pillow. At this moment, watching him sleep, Janelle had never loved him more. She hoped he would forgive her for slamming the stemware into his cheek, but if he didn't, she would understand. Gods, when had she ever done so much to ask for forgiveness for? First Orion, now Jack. Would the world end up hating her? She heard horses whiny outside and rose to her feet. Orion entered with knapsacks full of stuff. He threw one at her and laid another by Jack's bed. Is he better yet? I don't want to wait too much longer. Got horses waiting for us. One of them looks suspiciously like Flavius's friend's horse. Janelle brightened. Blaze? They had him? Awesome! Jack groaned and rolled onto his back. He attempted to sit up. Janelle had to help him. Why? What the hell? Why am I... Janelle? He gazed at her, disoriented. Fear came over his face. We can't stay here. We have to go now. If they catch us... Shh. It's okay. There's no one around. They all deserted. How are you feeling? I don't know. We have to go now. His eyes were wide as saucers. The flight aspect of the newly enlightened. Janelle remembered it well. Well, that decides it. Orion cut in. Let's go. Grab your pack there, boy. We've got a woman to track down. Why don't we take the road from Waterton to Wild Oaks? Janelle complained as another branch... Hi, Stepmama's mama. Welcome. I will let you know the only thing you have missed is that Jack, the bad guy that she loves dearly, is no longer technically a bad guy because he's been enlightened, just like Janelle. And now the three of them are traveling. Janelle, Jack, and Orion. That's all you've missed. Janelle complained as another branch whipped her in the face. It would be so much easier. Up ahead of her, Orion shook his head and ducked under another branch. It's not that bad. Quit your bitchin'. With deserters running about, the soldiers looking for you, the road's the last place we want to be. He chuckled. Just wait until we get to the hallowed hedges. We'll have to leave the horses behind. It'll be tough enough traveling on foot. There's no way the horses will get through. But we don't have to worry about the deserters, she protested. The program will take over and send them home. That don't make the roads any safer, he said. They had left the campsite early that morning before dawn broke. Orion claimed to know these woods like the back of his hand. Currently, they headed in a southeasterly direction. The trees were spaced enough that the horses made it through, but branches and low bushes proved to be a challenge. Behind her, Jack rode in silence, lost in his thoughts. He'd barely spoken a word since they left camp. Janelle figured he was still coming to terms with his enlightenment and let him be. Orion hadn't spoken a word about what had happened between them that fateful day in his house. She didn't feel comfortable breaching the subject with him. That was all she needed. For him to abandon them after deciding to help again. so she kept her mouth shut. She'd figured he'd bring it up if he had anything to say on the matter. She noticed that his own wounds were healing quickly. His voice was almost back to normal. It made her wonder if he wasn't a soldier of trustee, but that notion was just plain silly. When night descended, they made camp in the middle of the forest. They did not make a fire, as there was no need. The night was humid, and they could eat the food cold. Orion picked a spot near the tethered horses and unrolled his sleeping bag, taken from the trustee camp. Jack set his up a distance away, and Janelle settled next to him. "How are you feeling?" she asked. Jack didn't reply, but kept right on setting up his sleeping bag. "Jack?" "What?" he asked, turning on her in a sudden fury. "Do you have to be so close? I'm not your prisoner, am I?" His outburst took her aback. "What? No. What makes you think that?" "Oh, I don't know. First, you slam a broken glass into my face, which hurt like hell, by the way. Then you enlighten me without even asking." Heat rose to her face. "Really, Jack? Really? As I recall, you held me prisoner. I had every right to escape. And as far as the Enlightenment goes, do you think I asked for it? That I wanted it? Do you think I find it enjoyable sneaking around Bravia, looking for someone I've never met? My world's been turned upside down, and the only thing I was grateful for was the opportunity to share it with you, to have you with me again. That's why I enlightened you." "Whatever, babe." "I know," he said, and turned back to his sack. Janelle stood there, her mouth agape. "Whatever? Is that all you have to say? Jack, I fucking love you. Have you forgotten that?" He looked at her over his shoulder. "Have I? No. But then again, you were the only one who stabbed me with a motherfucking glass, Janelle." He spit out her name like it left a bad taste in his mouth. I mean, I'd be pretty pissed too, but he kind of had it coming. "Well, you were the one who stabbed..."
Is it hot in here? Are you hot? I mean, you are hot. I mean...
You know, it's not too bad. I've got the ceiling fan on, so thank you for asking, though. "Well, you were the one who stabbed me in the chest with your sword and tried to kill me with my own." He turned and faced her again. "That's not fair. You know I was programmed to do that. You know I would never hurt you." He reached out and touched her hair. "Gods, you've never been more beautiful than you are right now." He made to take her into his arms, and she let him. They held each other tight. Okay, this music is not doing it for me. Sorry. We're going to switch back to my soundtrack. Thank you very much. Okay. "I love you, you stupid motherfucker," she whispered in his ear. "Gods, I love you more than anything." Someone cleared his throat beside her. Janelle turned to find Orion standing there, looking uncomfortable. I was going to tell you two to quit your bitching, but it appears I have interrupted something else entirely. Either way, it would behoove you to keep your voices down. Don't want to attract any unwelcome attention." Then he turned and made his way back to his sack. Janelle and Jack burst out laughing. And that's the end of chapter 13. Okay, quick recap. She plugged Jack into the port, or plugged the port into... She plugged a wire into Jack's port. That's what I really wanted to say. He started to heal. She opened the folder, realizing that she could enlighten him so that he was no longer bound to the trustee program. Let's see. He argued with her because, you know, he was a little upset by having a bottle shoved into his face. And I get that. That would really suck. And then they made up. The end. The end of the chapter, anyway. Why does the puzzle keep reconnecting me? I don't understand. Yeah, so adamantine in the book, it's capital T, lowercase R-U-S, and then a capital T on the end. So it's like trust T. It's been doing that throughout the chapter. Yeah, I thought I noticed it. At first I wasn't sure if it was me, and then I think I caught it as me. So I'll see if it does it again. If it does, I'll just refresh it. Oh my gosh. Put my tea down before I spill it. Haiti. Thank you for the resub. Trustee is actually pronounced trust, but I like your version. Okay. Well, that's good to know. It's, oh, that's better. It just made sense to me to add the T as a trustee because of the capitalization. So I'm glad you like it. I'm here lurking while I fold some laundry. I did some of that earlier. Let me edit the push-ups, and then I should probably do some. There we go. Now we're at 35. Okay. I'll keep my tea right there. And I will do some push-ups. If anyone wants to do some push-ups alongside me, virtually alongside me, you are more than welcome to. If you don't want to do some push-ups, that's fine too. Maybe just get up, stretch, you know, do the thing.
More! More!
More? I can't. I think I'm good. Thank you, everyone, for the resubs and gifted subs. That was a great workout. I appreciate it.
Drink! 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 Drink!
Remember, stay hydrated. Certainly will. I like this mug because it has this little lid to help keep some of the heat in. It's wonderful. All right. That was awesome. Thank you again. Exclamation point virus. If you want to learn more about our author and some of the work that she's done. If you want to see other books that are being looked at right now, feel free to do click on that link or do exclamation point NFV as well. Let's see. We're on chapter 14. Page 147.
I'm stronger. I'm smarter. I'm better. I am better.
Are you though? I'm just kidding. Hello, chaotic soul. How you doing? We just finished a chapter. I did some push-ups. Now we're gonna continue on with our book. We're gonna keep reading. Let's see. Chapter 14. Here we go. Several days later, they reached a ford in Boravia River to the east of Salton. The bank on the other side of the river, the river? On the river. On the other side of the river led up to deeply tangled bushes and tall, spindly pines with branches of needles near their tops. "The hallowed hedges," Orion said. "We'll have to leave the horses here and travel on foot. It's gonna be a bitch to get through." "This Chris Jordison lives in there?" Jack asked. "How in the world?" "The safest place for her. No one enters the hedges," Orion replied. Thunder rumbled in the distance. After a week of no rain, another system was making its way across the land. This bothered Janelle. The thought of being out in the storm again. "Orion, we can't just leave the horses here, not with a storm coming. I promised Flavius I'd bring Blaze back. We aren't far from Salton, right? Can't we take an extra day?" Orion shrugged. "It's your quest." "Are you sure you want to take the risk?" Jack asked her. "There could be trustee soldiers there." "I made a promise," Janelle insisted. She cast a nervous glance at the sky. Jack frowned. "This isn't about the horses at all, is it? You're afraid of the storm coming." He waved her off. "Never mind. Let's go." Jack knows her so well. They entered Salton just as the businesses were closing for the day. Flavius. What? "Well, thank you so much for the follow." "Hey, we just reached 600 followers. You were the 600th follower." Now, how do I say your name? Felicia? No, Felisa. Felisa? 600. Yay. Thank you, everybody. You glad I am? Well, I'm glad too. Am I saying your name right, Felisa? But I can call you Fel? Cool. Either one works. Felisa, Fel. Depends if I can remember it next time. Well, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. 600. Woo. You know, I'll be honest, I never, when I started streaming, I never really had a concept of how many, you know, followers I might get being a reading streamer. Uh-oh, you don't know me? Great, here we go. This is a trick question. And I'm going to plead the fifth, so I do not incriminate myself. Yeah, I'm going to need some help. Hint, we have a common friend. Like, in real life common friend? Or Twitch/Discord common friend? Because finally got the border done. Nice job. I see that. Well done. Common friend? Discord common friend. Discord common friend. Shoot. I'm gonna be honest, I suck with names. So, especially if your Discord name is different than your Twitch name, which is very possible. Mine's different. Shoot. I don't know. Put me out of my misery, please. It's the same. Awesome. See, now I have to go and look. You know mine's that, yeah, of course you do. Gosh darn it. Oh wait, I found you. You do emotes and artwork and stuff like that, right? I think. Okay, alright. Okay, yeah, in Kilobyte, you've got your own photo channel. Okay, for Killa, yeah. Mm-hmm. Got it. Okay. If I didn't, like, take a moment to look it up, that would have taken me all year to figure out. All next year, I should say. Okay. Well, again, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Killa's a wonderful human being, so it makes sense. Alright. I've completely lost my place. They entered Sawton just as the businesses were closing for the day. Alright, there we go. That's where I'm at. Flavius had a close sign in his window, but Janelle saw a light on in the back room. When she rapped on the door, a dog barked from within. Danger, she smiled. The barking transformed into an impatient whine. We're closed, came a yell. Flavius's figure filled the doorway of the back room. Danger, hush. Janelle waved through the window. Flavius, it's us. Upon seeing her, Flavius's face lit up. The tailor rushed to the door and undid the lock, letting them in. Darlings, what are you doing here? He hugged them all, even the mildly surprised Jack. Aren't you a fine young man? He winked. Janelle knelt and Danger barreled into her arms, covering her face with doggy kisses. I promised you I'd bring Blaze back, she said, and laughed at the wiggling dog in her arms. Well, I must admit, I never expected you to return him, but thank you, my dear. Why ever did you risk coming to town to do so? Trusty soldiers patrol through here every day looking for you. All of you, I'd gather, from the recent reports on the radio. He looked at Jack. You must be the strapping young officer they're searching for. They say Janelle murdered you and hid your body somewhere. Said she murdered everyone except the nurse and the cook, who made it back to HQ unharmed. Huh, was all Jack said. Well, for the record, Janelle said, I didn't murder Jack. His own men put a bullet in his back. I merely stabbed him in the face with some broken stemware. Flavius looked at them, mouth agape, as the three laughed. I've never seen a stream like this. Well, sit back and relax. We read books here, so it's calm and cozy. Seriously, she did, Jack said. I have the scar to prove it. He pointed to his cheek. Hurt like a bitch, too. Flavius blinked a couple times. You trustee soldiers are a strange lot, lordy lordy. That set them off again. This time Flavius joined in the laughter. A rumble of thunder sounded in the distance. Sounds like the storm's getting closer, Orion said, and it'll be dark soon. Weather reports say this one's gonna be a doozy, Flavius replied. The worst is supposed to hit around midnight and not let up until morning. If you're planning on crossing at the ford, you may not make it in time. Flash flooding from the storm could be heading our way as we speak. Janelle blanched. Isn't that lovely? She said, her voice barely a whisper. She looked over at Orion. He held up his hands. Don't blame me. You were the one who wanted to come here. I'm not blaming you. You're right. It's my fault. Damn it. What are we supposed to do now? I don't want to be out in the storm. Her voice dropped. I don't like them. I gotta go. Have a great night. Hey, thanks for being here, Adicard. Have a fantastic evening with whatever it is you're doing. Appreciate you. Jack stepped over her to put an arm around her. Wait, what? What did I just read? Oh, Jack stepped over to her, not over her, jeepers, and put an arm around her. Well, Flavius drug out the word until everyone was looking his way. You could stay here for the night, I suppose. See how things look in the morning. We don't want to impose. Oh, it's no trouble, me dear. No trouble at all. Just stay in the back where no one can see you. It'll be nice and dry. Better than being stuck in the storm, Orion said. Another day or two couldn't hurt. We'll just have to plan our departure for when no trusty soldiers are around. Shouldn't be too hard. I don't know, Jack said. I'm getting a bad feeling about this. Nonsense. Janelle's confidence returned, now that she didn't have to go out in the storm. It'll be fine. It's not like they'd expect us to be here or anything. I will say we should take our chances with the river. No. The word came out more panicky than she meant. She took a deep breath before continuing. I have Jinshin scale. We can use it to cross in the morning. High waters or not. Orion nodded. All right. We'll wait out the storm here, but we're leaving as soon as it's over, okay? Provided there are no trusty soldiers around, Jack added. Right. So it's settled. I'll leave you darlings and head home. Danger can stay here if you like, and I'll see what I can whip up in the morning for breakfast. I'll be here at dawn to get the shop ready for the day. You're the best, Janelle said and hugged him. Flavius laid an innocent kiss on her cheek. Anything for you, darling. Trustee may see you as a threat, but we all see you as a hero. He pointed to a tiny white flower pinned to the breast of his collared shirt. She smiled, noticing it for the first time. I thank you. What's the flower for? Jack asked. Our supporters. She smiled at Flavius. Flavius left, locking the door behind him. Janelle watched through the window as he untethered Blaze from the hitching post. Then she returned and joined the others in the back room. It was only later that she realized the other horses were still tied outside. Stolen trustee horses. And that's the end of chapter 14. Do you write your own books too? I have in the past. I haven't written anything in a couple of years though. But yes, I've written technically 8 books in total. Some fiction, some non-fiction. The last 2 were kind of a futuristic dystopian style, both very different from each other. But yeah. Time for some more hot tea. I'm debating if I should take a bath tonight or not. Could always take one tomorrow. Yeah. Your voice is very calming itself, you know? Thank you. That is the goal. I do my best to provide a comforting, safe place for people to just sit and chill, listen to a book while they do things. They can do the puzzle if they want to. It's not required. You know, some people, like earlier, Heidi is doing laundry, or was doing laundry, while she's listening. Other people play a game. Some people just sit and zone out. And some people come here when they need to try and get to sleep, and they just listen. So. Why am I live again? The heck? That's weird. I can do my art while listening to your stream. Exactly. That's the idea. All right. What are we at? 8 o'clock? Perfect. Excellent. It's time for chapter 15. Okay. We're on page 152 in the printed copy. They retired early, partly to get some sleep before the storm hit, and partly because they'd extinguished the light so no one would suspect anyone was there. Orion laid his bed behind Flavius's desk. If anyone entered the room, they wouldn't even see him. Janelle and Jack lay by the stove. Though they did not use it. I can read, I promise. Danger curled up between them. Still mistrusting of Orion, the little dog took to Jack right away. Janelle pondered whether to take him with her. After all, Danger would have no trouble navigating the thick underbrush of the hallowed hedges. She drifted off to sleep, curled around Danger with her hand on Jack's pillow. A crash of thunder jolted Janelle from sleep. Danger issued a low growl. She felt the hackles on his back rise. Another crash. This time, it wasn't thunder. Best be going. Have a good evening. Thank you, newbie. I will talk to you later. Glass shattered. Danger jumped up, barking, and ran out of the room. Danger, no! A hand covered her mouth. Shh, Jack whispered in her ear. He dragged his bedroll to a corner of the room, out of sight from the door, and motioned for her to do the same. Together, they crouched in the corner. Using her enhanced vision, Janelle noticed Orion crouched and alert behind the desk. Danger's furious barking was cut off with a yelp of pain. Then nothing. Huddled beside Jack, Janelle let out a whimper. Now they heard footsteps, booted and ominous, entering the store. Crashing sounded as things were overturned or knocked to the floor. The light in the main store area turned on. Janelle shrank deeper into the shadows. "Search everywhere," came a voice. "James," Jack whispered. "That bastard." Hormel James. Janelle remembered him well. A year behind her in schooling, he had ambitious dreams of becoming an officer. But he wasn't made for the rigorous tests that officers had to complete. He'd failed 3 times before reluctantly accepting that he'd go no higher than sergeant. One of his biggest failings was his lack of confidence. Under pressure, he was easily broken. He tried to make up for it by bullying Janelle early on, but Jack had put a stop to it. "Let me handle this," Jack whispered in her ear and pushed her behind him. Shadows appeared in the light, knifing through the open doorway. Several men hastened inside. Someone flipped the light switch. Harsh light blinded Janelle, which, when she could see again, 6 rifles were pointed in her and Jack's direction. "What is the meaning of this?" Jack demanded, power in his voice. The rifles lowered a bit. Confusion dotted the faces of the soldiers. "I demand an answer," Jack said. "Who's the commanding officer of your platoon?" Captain Barlow, sir," one soldier said with uncertainty. Someone pushed his way through the group. What's going on here? Who? Oh, Colonel Arrington." James was a head shorter than the other men. He raised his bushy eyebrows in surprise. He'd always reminded Janelle of a hairy troll. We heard you were dead, sir." The disappointment that this wasn't true rang clear in his voice. "Who told you that? The deserters? Is that who you're looking for?" "Deserters? No, sir. We're looking for, well, her." He pointed at Janelle. "And the big man accompanying her. Reports said you were, murdered by them." Jack laughed, but his eyes were serious. "Unbelievable. Do I look dead to you, Sergeant?" "No, sir." James' resolve cracked. "We saw the 2 trusty horses outside. We thought..." "Shit, the horses," Janelle thought. "How could it have been so stupid?" Jack interrupted James. "Where is Captain Barlow? I need a word with him." Of course, sir. He's at the inn." James hesitated. "Well, what are you waiting for? Go fetch him, Sergeant." Janelle wasn't sure what Jack was planning. She only hoped he knew what he was doing. Jack strode toward the group with Janelle in tow. The men hastened back through the doorway. As Jack and Janelle strode by the desk, she saw Orion crouch there. Jack mouthed the word, "Stay." Orion nodded. Jack brought her into the main room. A dozen men stood at ease near the shattered door. Janelle saw Danger's crumpled body on the floor and moved to run to him, but Jack jerked her back. "Don't try to run, prisoner," he said, his words harsh. Pain stabbed at her heart. She buried her face against his shoulder, but he shoved her away. His eyes were hard. Part of her felt betrayed, even though she knew he was just acting. At least, she hoped he was. She stood by him, dejected. She tried to keep her eyes on the floor by her feet, but they kept wandering to Danger's lifeless body. "Who killed the damn dog?" Jack demanded. He squeezed Janelle's hand. "The sergeant, sir." One man, a young lad with blonde hair, replied. Jack grunted in return. A man in officer's clothing entered through the broken door, followed by James. "Colonel Arlington, sir." The man saluted. His eyes were red with lack of sleep. The crumpled appearance of his clothing suggested that someone had aroused him from rest with his clothes still on. He didn't look familiar to Janelle. He appeared to be around 20, with a clean-shaven face, except for a small blonde mustache. His close-cut hairstyle was mostly hidden beneath his officer's hat. He stood taller than most of the men in the room, yet he was thinner than most of them. "Captain Barlow," Jack returned the salute. "Please tell me this is some kind of mistake." "I sent my men to investigate the appearance of trusty horses, sir. We thought they were, well, your alleged murderers, sir." He looked in Janelle's direction. "Obviously they weren't. I have the woman in custody and was taking her back to HQ. The storm forced us to stop. I haven't seen the man." "We were unaware of that, sir." Something in the tone of his voice put worry in Janelle's heart. He wasn't buying it. "And now your intelligence has cost a shop owner his shop. Who do you think will be responsible for all the damage, Captain?" Barlow flinched. "You are correct, sir. I shall, of course, take full responsibility for the damage. Please, why don't you join us at the inn? We can secure the prisoner and contact HQ to tell them you are safe." "A marvelous idea, Captain. Let me just gather my things." But of course, sir." Jack started to lead Janelle back to the room, but Barlow stepped forward. "Allow me to relieve you of the prisoner, sir." He grabbed a hold of Janelle's other wrist. She tried to pull away. When she made pleading eyes at Jack, he merely nodded and released her. Barlow secured her hands behind her in his firm grip. "Funny how she did not need to be restrained," he said as if to himself. Then he barked, "Sergeant, go with him." James stepped forward. "Of course, sir." He didn't even bother to hide the malicious grin on his face. Janelle wanted to shout a warning, and she almost did, but Jack's glance silenced her. A grim look of disapproval met her eyes. He already knew. She watched Jack and James enter the back room, her heart knocked in her chest. Her program wanted to initiate the battle rage sequence, but she paused it, waiting. A bright flash lit the windows, followed by a crash of thunder, causing Janelle to duck. Barlow's grip tightened on her arms. The lights flickered, then blinked out. A loud thud sounded from the dark back room. Barlow motioned for a couple of men to head toward the entryway. The lights came back on. 2 shots, fired from the darkness, took them out. "Kill him!" Barlow cried. In his grip, Janelle struggled. She freed one arm and elbowed him in the face. He threw her to the ground. His knee jammed in her back. Something cold touched the nape of her neck. "Don't fucking move, or I'll blow your fucking brains out." Barlow spoke low between clenched teeth. Then he shouted, "Arrington, don't be a fool. Come out with your hands in the air or I'll kill the girl right now." Janelle heard the click of the hammer of his service pistol as he cocked it. From her vantage point, Janelle couldn't see anything. Despite the pistol in her back, she struggled to topple Barlow off of her. Her battle rage initiated. In one swift movement, she forced him off her and wrestled to disarm him. The gun went off, the roar deafening. The bullet flew so close to her left ear that she felt the wind as it passed by her. She got a hold of the gun, but Barlow hit her hard across the face with his fist. She hit the floor again. The gun clattered to the floor. Janelle turned onto her back and brought her knees up. She booted him with both feet, right in the gut. With him wheeling to catch his balance as he fell backwards, she made a mad grab for the gun. But a heavy weight fell on her, and his hands reached for and grabbed the gun instead. He caught her by the back of the shirt and jerked her to her feet, spinning around so they faced the darkened backroom door. His arm snaked around her neck. "I'll kill her right now," Barlow shouted. Was that fear Janelle detected in his voice? A flash of lightning revealed a room of dead soldiers. 2 shadows separated themselves from the darkness. Both Jack and Orion stood in the doorway, rifles in their hands. "It's over," Jack said. "Lower your weapon and let her go." "Backup is on the way." Barlow's voice quivered. "I'll kill them too." Jack took a step closer. "Let her go, and I might let you live." "Not a chance, Arrington." He dragged her toward the entrance of the shop. Janelle sank her teeth into his arm. Barlow yowled in pain and loosened his grip. She slipped free, and Jack fired a shot. Barlow crumpled to the ground. Jack threw Janelle her pack. "Let's get out of here before more come." Janelle hesitated. "The storm." "Oh, God, Janelle, fuck the storm. Just go." Jack pushed her out the door. He turned toward the dark back room. "Come on, Orion. Let's go." The big man emerged from the room, and they ran into the stormy night. Janelle held onto Jack's arm and ducked her head with her eyes squeezed shut so she wouldn't see the lightning. She ran that way, stumbling blindly along until they reached the forest. Then, with the sounds of the storm muffled, she let go, and they ran until they reached the river. It was swollen with the monsoon rains. As they rested a moment, Janelle reached into her shirt for Jinshin's scale. Her fingers touched nothing but skin. "Guys, we have a problem." And that ends chapter 15. Quite the fight in the shop. Poor Flavius. He's going to show up in the morning and his whole Shop has gone to hell. Shish. Is everybody doing okay? I assume so, but I always like to check. You know, just in case. Let's see. Yep and yep. Wonderful. We are on page 159. So for math's sake, we'll just call it 160. We have 66 pages left. Yikes. That's not a lot. Oh. That is not a lot at all. I don't like it when the stories get done and over with so quick. I'm gonna put my tea back on the warmer. Just as a reminder, since we do only have 66 pages left, so basically one or two more streams, something like that. This is our next book, Honest Deceit, Part 1. It is a 3-part story, but we will just be reading the first part, just to give you a taste, if you will. And then after that, we have Obsidian's Fall, written by Kay. So just to give you a reminder of what's coming. We don't have to worry about those just yet, because we are still here enjoying Jennifer's book, The Enlightenment Virus. I'm just trying to figure out where we want to read to. What chapter did we start on tonight? I don't even remember. Was it... Chapter 13. That's where we started. So we started on page 140. We've only read 18 pages. In the hour and 20... or hour and 10 minutes or so, because we started about 10 after, so just over an hour. So yeah, we'll read a little bit more, keep going, and then we'll just kind of have to see where we end up for Sunday stream. If we finish this book on Sunday, we might play a game on Thursday so that we can start the new book on a Sunday. I don't know why, but I like starting new books on a Sunday. Beginning of the week, beginning of a new book. It just makes sense to me. It doesn't have to be that way. I just like it in my head. So we'll see how it is. And the game, by the way, will more than likely be Power Wash Simulator, because I haven't played that in ages. And I was watching Thump Gaming, new friend of mine, do some power washing, and it made me want to play it. So we'll just have to see. If we finish the book Thursday next week, we'll just go right into the next book. No big deal. So we'll just see how it goes. Okay. Power Wash Simulator. My husband loves that one. Yeah, it's a pretty fun one. It's very satisfying. Because, yeah, you just sit there and make stuff clean. That's it. All right. Chapter 16, page 159. Let's go. There was no easy way to cross the river, not without Jinshin's scale. Janelle figured the chain broke during her struggle with Barlow. Stupid, 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 she stomped. Hot tears ran down her face. Oh gods, why had she been so stupid? Worried about the storm instead of trudging onward. If she'd just gone forward instead of balking, Danger would still be alive and Flavy's shop wouldn't be in shambles. Plus, she'd still have the scale. She started throwing rocks into the river in rage. Jack caught her hands. She fell into him and cried angrily into his shoulder. Why am I so stupid? Why? He smoothed her wet hair. You're not stupid. You were scared. We all did it. We all made the mistake. Orion came over. It sounded like a good idea at the time. But we lost everything. The necklace. That necklace was everything. How are we supposed to get across now? Orion thought a moment, and his eyebrows went up. All's not lost, girlie. There's still a way. There's a bridge not far from my house. We'll cross there. It'll only set us back a couple days. Really? Yes, really. Now, quit your crying, and let's get going. Time's a-wasting. He turned and started walking downriver. Janelle ran after him. Orion, I just wanted to thank you for, He brushed her off with a wave of his hand. Listen, I never... She paused, took in a breath. I never got to say how sorry I am for... Bah, no need. Let's just find Jordison so we can stick it to Tourette, eh? He grinned at her. Janelle mirrored him. Yeah. Jennifer, quick question. How old is Janelle? Because sometimes I feel like she's a full-grown adult. And then sometimes I feel like she's not. And I just can't tell. Did you have an age in mind? Or at least a, young adult, older, late teen? Like, what's her age? Just out of curiosity. I don't remember. Early 20s? Okay. That's fine. I just wanted to get a general idea, because sometimes it feels like she's younger than other times because of how she acts or the way she speaks. So I just couldn't quite pin down an age. But early 20s, I think that makes sense. Two days later found them back at the same spot of the river, only this time they stood on the opposite bank. Before them, the hallowed hedges spread across the land. Orion pointed out a small animal trail that entered the hedges. The thick vines that grew everywhere hid its entrance. This is the only entrance I know, he said. It's been many years since I was here. Maybe 15 years? I don't know. This was the last time I saw Jordison. I helped her move into her place, is all. Haven't been back since. So I'm autistic and think I passed my traits on to her before I knew I was autistic? Ah, okay. I could see that. Alright. Good to know. Thank you for that insight. Wait. Jack broke in. So, you haven't been here in 15 years? How do we even know she's still there? Oh, she's still there, right? No place else she could ever go. Not with Tourette in power. Come on, Janelle said. Let's get going. I don't like being out here in the open. Someone might spot us. Girl has got the point. Let's go. After you, girlie. When Janelle gave him a questioning look, Orion chuckled. Only one way in. Only one path for the most part. Lead the way. Orion held the vines so that she and Jack could enter. He followed, arranging them back so they look undisturbed. Janelle had to duck upon entering the hedges. Twisted branches formed a tunnel of sorts around a small path. Animals use this path now, but it was erected centuries ago by a mage, back when magic still flowed through the world. Legend has it that magic actually originated here, deep within the forest, and that it used to be filled with all sorts of traps and tests to keep out unwary travelers. Never ran across any of them myself, but who knows? He shrugged. The path should be safe enough, though. Whatever happened to the mage? Janelle asked. Probably died a long time ago. He supposedly had a castle on the eastern coast. It's where the path originally led, but the magic's been slowly dying. Now, or at least 15 years ago, the path ended halfway in. Around there is where we'll find Jordison. What the hell is Jordison doing in a place like this anyway? Jack asked. Well, when you're the creator of the most insidious program ever imagined, and your son is crazy with power, I reckon you'd want to vanish from the face of the earth too. This is the perfect place for that. The path was the strangest thing Janelle had ever seen. The tangled canopy above their heads glowed green from the radiance of the sun. The path itself consisted of dark, damp, loamy earth. Puddles were a constant obstacle after the recent rains. Many animal tracks marred the soft earth, but Janelle hadn't seen any rabbits, deer, foxes, or anything else. Often the twisted hedges and undergrowth of the path rustled, so she figured the hedges were teeming with shy wildlife. Parts of the canopy dipped close to the earth, and the travelers had to duck or even crawl beneath it. The path was narrow, and brambles often caught on their clothes. Because of his height, Orion had the worst time of the three. When the green canopy turned dark, they stopped for the night. And this is why I don't look up, because I lost my place. They shared a cold meal and lined their sleeping bags along the path in an area dry enough. If anything traveled that night, it would have to step right over them. Orion suggested they take turns keeping watch to avoid any unsuspecting animal travelers, or anything more sinister. Although they didn't expect Trustee to follow them, it was best not to take any chances. Orion took the first watch, but Janelle couldn't sleep, so she stayed up with him. They sat in silence for a while, back to back. I never even knew such a place existed, Janelle said. I mean, I've learned about the location of the hallowed hedges, but never actually about them. Probably a place Tourette would rather forget even existed, Orion said. For the most part, no one enters, so it's nothing he even needs to concern himself with. You think we'll be safe from the soldiers here then? Aye, fairly certain, anyway. Though I'm sure we stirred up a hornet's nest back there in Sawton. Janelle flushed. I hope Flavius and the others won't catch flack for us. Flavius has been dealing with shit like that for a long time, girlie. I'm sure he'll manage just fine. What about you, Orion? How are you dealing with all this shit I've gotten you into? He turned, and they looked at each other in earnest. It was strange seeing him without his glasses. She hadn't noticed until now. He must have lost them when Trustee captured him. His scar was stark white in the darkness. I be dealing with it just fine. Figured I could use some excitement in my life. Things was getting a bit boring. Janelle let out a quiet laugh. Is that why you rescued me? You could say that. They went back to their original sitting positions. I just couldn't stand to see a pretty girl get beat up is all. I'm glad you are out there, and I hope I can make a difference. Girlie, you already have. The people love you. You bring them hope. Can't deny that. Do you still hate me? The words came out before she could stop them. Silence. Then, no, of course not. I was angry, fucking angry. But I came to realize that it was Tourette I should be angry at. The look on your face haunted me the entire time. I knew the realization of what you'd done devastated you. I just was angry is all. And you had every right to be. Staring out over the hedges, black and twisted shadows in the darkness, it was easier for Janelle to speak her mind. I didn't even know what I'd done. The program made me do it, then it suppressed my memory of doing it. It took the Enlightenment to make me aware. Excuse me. Back at the power plant when the computer crashed and I fell. That knocked the whole scene free. I remembered everything. And then when I came across the photo... That's enough, girlie. I don't need to hear no more. Sorry, I just want you to know that isn't me. That's not who I am. It was the program controlling me. Girlie, don't you think I already know that? Janelle settled against his back. Relief flooded her, tiring her. Her eyes grew droopy. Every time she drifted off, her body would jerk itself awake. After a few times of this happening, Orion sent her to her bedroll. She fell asleep before her head hit the pillow. How many times can I mess up 2 sentences in a row? Well, that was chapter 16, and a much needed bit of closure between the two people. Janelle killed his wife and son, but she had no control. She didn't know she was doing it. And even if she did, she couldn't have stopped it. So there you go. I was thinking of reading another chapter, but words are hard sometimes. You're right. But that's kind of a good stopping point, I think, just because I feel like after a nice, calm low like that, something's going to happen on the way up. At least that's my suspicion. And I I would hate to get into that. Although chapter 17 isn't that long. Maybe. So let me ask you this, Jennifer. Is it worth reading chapter 17 and then stopping? Or would I be, like, ruining the middle of a scene or something? Thump, my man. I've still got your stream up. I see you watching the Game Awards. So yeah, if it's worth... Oh, it ends on a nice cliffhanger, I think. So I should read 17? Or I should not? Because I do enjoy ending the stream on a cliffhanger. You think I should? Okay, perfect. And that'll set us up pretty well for possibly finishing this book on Sunday, because that'll put us to page 173 to 225. So yeah, about 57 pages or so. Something like that. Okay. Then the final chapter for the evening then. Chapter 17. After I take a sip. I was debating if I should. Yes, you do. Don't hate me because it's devious. Don't hate the player. Hate the game. The voice of Orion can mess with my throat a little bit, so it's good to keep it lubricated. Why I chose that voice for him, I don't know. It just seemed to fit in my head at the time. I was just stating the facts? Okay. Well, I'm not hiding from those facts. I do enjoy it. Alright, page 165. I like it. Good. I'm glad. Because I'm kind of stuck with it now, so it'd be kind of weird if I changed it. 4 days later, the tunneled path through the hedges opened onto the strangest meadow Janelle had ever seen. The canopy ended at the opening. Janelle surveyed the expansive meadow, if one could call it that. Maze seemed to be a more accurate term. Her program analyzed every little detail. Excuse me. The meadow featured a maze of natural green spring traps of every type and size imaginable. There's no way to get into the other side except to go through the trap maze. And to go through it, they must. For on the other side, nestled in between the maze and the continuation of the hedges, tangled brush, sat a small cottage. Janelle knew this was the home of Chris Jordison. It sat on the other side of a high fence of tangled vines, but she saw the yellow sides and the dark green roof peeking through the natural fence. Oh, fun fact, I wrote the scene second after her initial encounter with Jack. Huh, alright. That is an interesting fact. Thank you for sharing. What is this? Jack asked. I've never seen anything like it. It's a test, Janelle replied. This wasn't here the last time I was here, Orion said. It appears to be magical in nature. Do you sense it? Like one of the old wizard's traps you were talking about earlier, Janelle asked. Yes, exactly that, girlie. There are tangle vines everywhere, Jack noted. Looks like we have to go straight through the maze. Janelle sighed. If only I still had Jinshin scale. Something tells me this is why it was given to me. Trust in me. The words came back to her as clearly as the day she'd taken the leap off the cliff. It all became clear to her. Jinshin had been a part of the plan all along. He'd given her one of his scales to help her succeed in her mission. She figured his scale had been her free ticket to the house, but with it gone, she'd have to do it the hard way. Janelle? Orian's voice cut through her thoughts. You okay? Huh? Yeah, fine. So, Jack said. You said this is a test? Yes. How so? The answer should be pretty obvious, she replied, only a little annoyed Jack hadn't figured it out. Think about it, man. The creator of the Trustee program lives on the other side of the maze. Only a soldier of Trustee would have the reflexes and moves quick enough to get past these. Who's going? Orion asked. I will, Jack said. Janelle shook her head. No, I'll go. I'm smaller and quicker than you. Plus, I still have both my hands. No offense, of course. Jack rolled his eyes and Orion chuckled. She has a point there, boy. Besides, Janelle continued, trying to remain serious, this is my mission. My burden. Jack didn't want her to go. He seemed to fight with himself over what to say, how to argue with her. You can't win this one, Jack, she said. I was enlightened first. He sighed. You're right, but be careful, okay? Always. She turned away, but he caught her hand. I mean it, Jen. One wrong move could prove fatal, even to us. The concern made his eyes glow. Excuse me. I know. Janelle touched his face. Don't worry. I'll be careful. She smiled and gave him a tender kiss on the lips. See you on the other side. I wonder, will the traps reset? Orion mused. Guess we'll find out. Janelle stepped to the boundary of the meadow. Her program analyzed the area in more depth and plotted the fastest path for her. She took a deep breath, initiated it, and let the program take over. As soon as she stepped foot onto the meadow, the closest traps went off, triggered by her movement. She ran straight through the first three, noting as she did, they remained sprung, the huge green spikes burying themselves deep into the ground. The wind from their springs nearly blinded her. Powerful these things were. Janelle made a quick right turn as a tangle vine wall blocked her path straight ahead. She sped past it before the vines got the chance to entangle her with their moving appendages. She dodged yet another spring trap, and ducked as the next one came straight at her. It impaled a small tree that she barely noticed was there. The next trap sprung up from behind. Its low vantage point was such that it could have impaled her if she'd remained ducking for too long after the last. She jumped up and over it. There was no room for error, no time to rest. Just as she landed, she caught sight of a spike coming at her from above. She did a forward roll to dodge it, then flipped through three more to her left. A large spike came straight at her head. She ducked below it. Another tangle wall in front of her told Janelle she had to head to the left. She spied another spring trap 20 feet ahead. As soon as she took a step, she felt a slight tremble in the ground. She turned the step into a jump and leaped forward, landing into a roll to avoid the trap. Behind her, a blanket of sharp spikes sprang from the ground, but there was little time to recover. As soon as she finished the roll, another trap swung at her from the front. She jumped over it, her foot tapping the spike as she cleared it. Janelle continued moving, dodging each trap as it sprang. Once she had to double back before heading forward towards her goal again. She thought she saw Orion and Jack following a safe distance behind, but she didn't have time to dwell on that as yet another spike sprang. By the time she reached the other side, sweat blinded her. She was exhausted, but there was no safe place to rest. She wiped the sweat from her eyes. In front of her stood the tangle vine fence. She could see the manicured lawn of the cottage beyond, but there appeared to be no way through. She heard a swishing behind her and turned just in time, her back now to the fence. She leapt straight up to avoid a huge spike coming at her. It buried itself in the tangle vines behind her. The vines entwined themselves around it, but even as she reached the apex of the jump and began her descent, 2 more spikes came from both sides of her. She did not have time to react. Her lead foot didn't even touch the ground before both spikes, smaller than most, but still deadly, buried themselves deep into her torso, pinning her against the wall of vines. She let out a cry as the pain crushed her. The tangle vines wore themselves around her as she pulled weakly on the embedded spikes. She saw Jack rush up, felt him pulling with all his might at the vines, at the spikes. For every vine he tore loose, 2 more quickly took its place. She tried to speak, but only a bubble of blood came out. Her vision darkened. "Stay with me, Jen. Stay with me." She heard Jack's voice, but it sounded terribly far away. "Get them out," she heard herself whisper. "Oh, gods, please." She flailed around. "Janelle, don't struggle. You're making it worse." The spikes pushed themselves deeper into her gut. The vines choked her. "Jack." She barely heard herself speak over the rushing in her ears. I can't get free." Panic set in. She struggled even harder. "Stop struggling, Jen," he said again. "Look at me. Can you see me?" He cupped her face with both hands to guide her eyes to him. Her vision was hazy, unfocused. "Stay awake," he said. "We're going to get you out." Her vision blackened. She saw the sky, blue, unfocused, then nothing. Vines tightened around her throat. "I said, stay awake, Orion. Give me a hand here." "Don't remove them." Or wait, that's a different voice. Let's see, what kind of a voice do we want to give her? English, I think. "Don't remove them." The unfamiliar voice, strong and female, startled Janelle back to consciousness. The vines relaxed their hold, and she could breathe again. Right next to her, part of the tangle vine wall disappeared, then rematerialized behind a woman. She appeared to be in her 60s with a jumble of short silver hair and a deeply tanned, leathery face. She looked like she'd spent a lifetime in the sun. Janelle pictured her in the meadow, nurturing not flowers, but spring traps. "Don't pull on them. You'll only make them sink deeper. woman stepped up to Janelle and studied her face, turning it this way and that. "Can you hear me?" she asked. Janelle nodded, unable to speak. "You'll be fine. The spikes are actually helping you. I'll explain later." She laid a hand on both spikes and whispered, "Jinshin et resedos." The vines shriveled. The spikes pulled themselves from Janelle's body with a sick, wet sound. Blood gushed from the gaping wound, but Janelle was aware of it knitting itself together again. Her feet touched the ground, and her knees gave way. Jack caught her as she collapsed. "Take her inside. We can lay her on my bed." The woman mumbled a few words under her breath, and the way opened through. Janelle's vision came back in time to see the woman give Orion a startled look of recognition before ducking through the hole in the tangle vine fence. "Follow me," she said. "Take care not to step off the path. The consequences would be quite dire." The hole in the fence opened to a meticulously manicured lawn of the greenest grass and the most vibrant and fragrant flowering plants Janelle had ever seen. "Put me down," she said. "I think I can walk now." "Are you sure?" "Yeah." Jack didn't look convinced, but he set her on her feet. Her first steps were wobbly, but Janelle could walk with Jack's help. "I love what you've done with the place," Orion quipped. The woman chuckled. "It's good to see you, Orion," she said. They followed a pebbled path across the lawn. Birds pecked at various feeders along the way, and, to the left, a little off the path, lay a well-kept pond with water so clear, colorful koi were visible swimming beneath the green lily pads. The house itself lay nestled right at the edge where the tangled hedges began again, even deeper and more impenetrable than before. A quaint, neat little cottage. One would expect a little old grandmother lady to own it, not this fierce old woman. The siding was painted a creamy yellow with white shutters. From within, yellowed checkered curtains peeked from the windows. The lady opened the door and ushered them into a tidy kitchen. "This way," she said. They followed her through a wide doorway to the right that opened to a dining room of blues and golds. A door to the back led to the lady's bedroom. "Don't worry about the blood. It'll wash out," the woman said as Jack helped Janelle onto the bed. Janelle tried to protest, saying she felt better, but the woman insisted. "The spikes are filled with extra healing nanites. They'll make quick work of your wounds, but you need to rest for them to do their job properly." "She's going to be all right?" Jack asked. "She'll be fine. She passed with flying colors. No one is meant to escape the last part." The woman smiled for the first time. "I'm so happy and enlightened made it through." "How do you know we are enlightened?" Jack asked. "Simple," the woman replied. "Anyone else would have been killed instantly." She looked pointedly at Orion. "Except for you, Orion Dre. We both know nothing can kill you." And that, ladies and gentlemen, is chapter 17. So they finally found the woman they've been searching for. And nothing can kill Orion? Is that a figure of speech, or did she mean it quite literally? I guess we'll have to find out next time. Chapter 18 comes up next on page 173, and I think we will likely finish the book on Sunday, which is bittersweet. It always is. It always is. All right. Well, thank you again for hanging out with me this evening. Thank you for the new follows, for the resubs, for the gifted subs, for the jump scares as well. None of those monetary things are ever required in here. Never. So, just know that I appreciate every piece of it, because it means a lot to me. It really does. Let's see who we're going to go raid, shall we? I kind of want to go raid Thump, because he's watching the, what is it, the Game Awards or something? Something like that. Obviously very different from what we've been doing, but he's a cool dude. He was trying to do some voice acting stuff himself, and I want to keep encourage him to keep trying, because he feels kind of defeated right now about the whole thing. So I'm trying to convince him to get back into it. He's got this really cool... Just banged my microphone. He's got this really cool announcer, like... He'd do great with, like, sports announcer casting kind of thing. Like, he'd knock that out of the park. So, anyway, thank you for being here. I appreciate all of you. I know we're getting close to the holidays. It's going to be a fun Christmas, New Year, all that good stuff. I'll have to figure out when I even start the next book. I know I said I'd start it Thursday, but I should really think about the fact that there's the holidays coming up, and maybe I should wait until after the new year. But I'll think about it. So, anyway, we'll be back on Sunday. We'll finish this book on Sunday. Jennifer, thank you for letting me read it. It's been a lot of fun. I appreciate you all. Have a great night. Take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. And I will see you next time. Good night.